Bill Schmid.
Give me some milk.
And Armin Saryan.
Hold on. Am I middle-aged?
You're 40, brother.
Join the show now on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. 1-877-794-1973.
Wait a minute. These guys are cool, but not that cool.
No BS is presented by Screamin' Sicilian Premium Craft Frozen Pizza. Find it in your local grocer's freezer and taste what all the screaming is about. Now, Billy and Armin on the game.
It is no BS, a Monday edition here without Bill Schmid. We do have an agenda today. My name is Tim Allen, in for Billy today. There's Armin Saryan, Dave Gasper here in the Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel. And boy, oh boy, the story ends now. We got a final chapter with Jaire Alexander, Armin. It's not surprising to me, maybe a little bit more for you. There was just too much involved here with Jaire, and I would prefer that he stayed a Green Bay Packer because he makes that defense that much better. One of the best corners in football. Let's not forget that. This is a big hit for this team.
It absolutely is, Timmy. And I think you said it well, the final chapter, because it was a saga that was kind of dragging along and was the main question of the offseason, at least to this point, I think, for most Packer fans, for the Green Bay Packers. And it was the toughest of problems that became more insidious as the year went on and he wasn't playing. And the tough part was how you were going to manage the reality of having a great player at a very important premium position, which I think most people agree that he was a great player when he was in there playing and he helped the team win. And having a guy like that was unfortunately not reliable. He wasn't reliable on the field. He wasn't available for you most of the time. And they couldn't really count on him to, walk the path they wanted him to walk. They couldn't count on him to be available when they thought he was healthy, when he didn't. They invested a lot of money in this guy, obviously, and the final chapter. And the surprising part for me comes in not at the end of by the end of the year, it sure seemed like he was obviously not going to be part of the team. He hadn't played. There was obviously waxy buildup with him and the front office or the coaching staff, whatever it may be. And as the offseason went on and there were no takers in theory, now there's some news that they might have had one taker in the trade market, but there were no trade market takers. It was going to seem less and less advantageous for them to try and trade him, or at least it wasn't going to happen. But the value wasn't going to be there, and the Packers did not just want to give away that type of talent by eventually releasing him. And then it seemed like, okay, there he is working out with Xavier McKinney. There's a report that they're going to work something out, but in the end, it just didn't happen. And that's where my surprise comes from, that it seemed like we were going the other direction. And then you wake up to the news that he's being released, and you feel like you just got stunned by the first punch of the match. So
and I think the puzzling part to me was all about the injury and how that was handled. It seems somewhat cryptic at times by both LaFleur and Jaire and or agent, to where, can you play? Is this an off the field thing? I remember Schneidman and other reporters just kind of wondering, what is this? Did you talk to him? It all seems sketchy to me the last year and a half or so. It just didn't feel right.
Right.
So that's why for me it wasn't as shocking as it might have been to some. We reserve some hope and some optimism that you get one of the best corners back on the field. It's certainly a top 10 defense made even better. And now you have the parting of the ways. Now, you say there's no trade takers, but I've always been a big proponent of, you need to move a guy and no one's biting on it, add to it. And it's always just this one for what can I get for this guy? How about just add something to it, whether it be a draft pick, whether it be some, I don't know, another player or two,
young talent,
whatever it might have been. And maybe they tried that. And maybe Jaire, I don't know. I mean, is he around the league a good teammate?
Well, there's obviously questions about that, right? Because of the uncertainty around his availability all the time. And look, Jaire's a different dude. We all know that. He can be an unusual guy. Sometimes he's had moments when he just had these weird press conferences that he you always would question a guy like that. You don't know what planet he's on half the time. Let's face it. And you'd always question what his availability was, where he was at mentally in terms of trying to be committed to playing football with the team.
But Armin, if this was just the injury, I'm going to defend Jair Alexander on this.
Sure.
If this were the injury, because that is really that is his living. That's his money.
His absolute living. And it's not
so
his job to make the Packers better.
I'll defend him on that.
Right. As much as we'd like him to be that guy and a team guy, and there's a virtue in that. You're doing what you can for the team. You have a loyalty to them. His loyalty is to himself. And it's not his job to make the team better. It's the Packers' job to figure it out and make the team better.
Well, and so if it were just the injury, I have a sneaking suspicion, guys, and I don't have any information on this. This is just my opinion, man. I think there was way more than we will ever know with this Jair Alexander situation. Way more.
And I think there's a lot of probably waxy buildup and unfortunately pride and ego that gets involved, probably from both sides. And that's where I'm the most disappointed. By the way, the Jordan Schultz report this morning that the Packers and the Bills were the team. The Bills were the team that held trade talks with the Packers, centered around Jair, but it ultimately fell through and Buffalo moved on. They didn't want to pay the salary. So listen, it's unclear if the Bills will now be involved. The other stories today were Jair didn't want to take a pay cut, and that's ultimately where it broke down. The Packers wanted to give him a 1-year incentive-laden deal. Yeah, and he didn't want to take that. I get it. Jair's like, I want to make the money I deserve, but the Packers are like, listen, your value's not there. It would have made, to me, most sense to center around something for 1 year that would have helped both sides. But, who knows? Maybe the Packers were so far gone personally on the way they felt about Jair, and maybe he was so far gone personally about the way he felt about the team. Money probably an issue, but sometimes that's just what it comes down to, Tim, is one side doesn't want the other one, and the other one doesn't want a reason to like the other one either, and that's it. And that's disappointing for me as a fan. Because he makes the Packers better, and I want the Packers to be the best team they can be, and I want them to compete at the highest level they can compete with. And we can hope Kalen King becomes the next Sam Shields. We can hope that whatever guy we pick up, and maybe there's more deals in the cards. It's kind of a pipe dream when you talk about the Packers. Let's be honest. We can hope that, there are undrafted guys that become great corners, and the Packers have had those, Shields, Tramon Williams. But to hope for that is not really a strategy for me, and it seems like a long shot. And for me, it's disappointing because the Packers will not be as good as they can be, in my opinion, without Jair. And that's just the reality.
In a lot of cases, the cornerback position is a volatile position in the NFL. And when you get a lockdown corner, shutting down that side of the field, you got to do everything you can to retain him. It's too bad. It really is too bad. Now, Nate Hobbs brought in a slot corner.
Slot corner, he can play outside, but generally he's played the slot and the nickel. That was a nice pickup for the Packers.
It's a really good pickup. I don't think it was any intuition as to what was going to happen with Alexander, because it is a slot corner.
Right.
So either way, Valentine or Keyshawn Nixon or someone's going to have to develop into it. And I find it hard to, I hope, but I find it hard to believe someone's going to be at Jair Alexander's peak performance in Nixon and Valentine.
Well, absolutely. And Nate Hobbs is, it's a great pickup, but you want to talk about availability. He's a guy that's played 11, 13, and 11 games in the last 3 years. So obviously this is the NFL. Injury rate's 100%. If you think him, Carrington Valentine, Keyshawn Nixon will be healthy for full 17 games throughout the season, I mean, that's quite the pipe dream long shot to have. So depth is also important at this position. We'll see where the Packers fall on that. And it's not like the Packers have some great reliable pass rush right now to depend on to help those guys.
Had a little bit of a down year in the pass rush. Agreed.
Now, overall, it's been a good defense. And I got reminded of that today. I'm talking to Aaron Nangler on Twitter. Hey, listen, the Packers were top 10 defense last year. They'll be fine. I hope so. I believe they will be, but you want them to be as great as they can be. We're trying to make the playoffs and compete for championships. That's the goal. So,
well, and the other factor here is I think the offense is going to score more points than they did last year.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that's the case. Again, health is a big factor. Jordan Love wasn't healthy to just even start the year last year. Yep. But I agree with you, Timmy. I like the way their offense is shaping up this year. They added some more young talent, obviously, in the receiver room with Golden, Savion Williams, high capital draft pick. And you hope so, right? Because you're going to have to help out the defense, I think, in that sense. We don't know what's going to happen. That's what's fun about the NFL. Every year is sort of its own story to be written, and who knows? This could turn out to be a much better defense than we thought, a much worse offense than we thought. We don't know what's going to happen, but they didn't commit draft capital to the cornerback position, so it is definitely going to be a question mark now.
All right, so your thoughts, NicoletLaw.com, talking text line at 877-794-1973. Does it hurt? You okay? You okay without, or are you relieved? I mean, there's probably a lot of Packer fans that are just saying, you know what? It's finally done. I don't have to listen to the BS. Well, listen to no BS here, but I don't have to listen to the soap opera stuff and all of what that entails here the last year or two.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fans that feel that way, Timmy. And we saw a lot of that sentiment anytime we brought his name up for the last 3 or 4 months. A lot of people saying, listen, he's a headache, he's a cancer, don't want him around, glad he's gone. Listen, I understand the way that makes you feel as a fan, you know, because you have to hear about him being on the, you know, on the injury report every week, or being questionable, not being able to count on him. It can get frustrating, but you can't tell me that it feels better that he's, I guess some people will tell me that it feels better that he's gone.
Maybe.
That they quote unquote don't have to worry about it anymore, which I never really understood. Like, you're not working for the tag. I don't know what you're worried about. It's not a matter of worrying about it. You want to have your best players in the field at all times, but I'm not really sure. Dan, the 715, Armani doesn't make the Packers better if he doesn't want to be here, period.
Well, if that's the case, if he doesn't want to be here, then I get it.
Yeah.
But you're under contract.
Yeah, and how do you make a guy want to be here? To me, the goal should be he's a great player. So
how do you not, an NFL player, how do you not want to be in Green Bay?
Right. Well, I guess, and I saw, I would agree with you, Timmy. I really don't know. I think it's not Green Bay itself. It's probably when someone says that, or in this case, when we say that, it's probably the way he felt about the team, and maybe the team was treating him. This is his perspective, I'm sure, about the injury.
Like I said, there's way more to this story. Way more.
Right. And I'm sure the team was frustrated with him too. I appreciate the efforts of Xavier McKinney. It looked like and we had the video of him in the offseason working out with him, which was the first spidey sense to say, oh, okay, something might be in the works here. There might be a reconciliation here. And then the word from Xavier was that he was spending every day working out with him. And Xavier McKinney, since he's been a Packer, has emerged as the leader of the defense. Yes. And it seemed like he was trying to be that guy. I don't want to say peacemaker, because we don't know specifically if he was a mediator at all. All we know is he was trying to, he's the leader of the Green Bay Packers defense, and he was working out daily, and I'm sure having a lot of conversations with one of the, best players when healthy of the Green Bay Packers.
Yes, and one of the best corners in the NFL.
Yeah.
And we forget that here. It's just easy to default to, well, he had an attitude problem. He may or may not have. I don't know. But McKinney, you mentioned him. I wonder how much conversation goes on with the brotherhood here of NFL players.
Great point. And then you mentioned, and you said the right word, brotherhood. Because we know in professional sports, Timmy, tell me if I'm wrong, but at least it seems this way to me. Players will look out for each other first in terms of, obviously players, union, things like that. And getting, they're not going to be looking out necessarily always for the best interest of their bosses, the team. I'm sure there's something there in that sense where it's like, look, you got to look out for yourself. I get it. You got to do what you can for yourself.
I won't talk about money to these guys. As a member of the media, I'd never bring up money. The only time I would ever bring up money is when they first make the big money. Like when Josh Hader finally got paid, $3 or $4 million for one season.
Right.
When he finally hit that plateau, it's like, dude, what'd you buy? Yes, congratulations on it. I wonder if these teammates talk about that business side. I would think they do. That would give them the right to at least have that conversation with him. So to have a teammate talk to Jair and I would try and coax him into staying in Green Bay.
Right.
I mean, you'd have to if you're looking to win a Super Bowl. He would be a big part of it.
Yeah, but that's tricky, right? Unless as a friend and fellow competitor, he would sound like, I don't want to sound hypocritical telling you to take less money if I wouldn't do the same thing. That's a tricky thing, I think, when athletes talk about each other. I don't think they ever I don't know. I don't think they talk to each other asking them to take less money usually. You know what I mean? I'd be saying maybe quarterbacks do. Does quarterbacks do that sometimes? They have that influence.
Yeah, how candid of a conversation do these guys have between each other saying, dude, you're making a whole bunch of, can you just stay? Well, and the other guy responds, hey, man, I'm going to take less money? No way. I'm not gambling on a 1-year deal. I get hurt and it's all over.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Jonah,
I don't know.
Right. Jonah in River Falls. Ja was toxic to the culture. Ultimately good to get rid of him.
Could be. It could be. And it might be a relief to not only some fans, but some of the players and the organization itself.
It's possible. Justin, North Carolina, I'm brokenhearted. Losing Jair is a gut punch.
That's where I'm at, because I'll deal with some, silly soap opera stuff. Off the field, we're human beings. They're human beings too.
Indeed.
And I would deal with that. I think this hurts this Green Bay Packer team. I really do. Now, can they recover and maybe someone steps up? Maybe Nixon is a little bit better than we think. And I don't know. You lose a guy like that and a presumably healthy Jair Alexander. Without him, your team is not as good.
We're going to be talking to Dennis Krause. Obviously, you know him as of the Packers Radio Network and veteran sportscaster du jour about the situation. I'm sure I'll have some interesting stuff to say right after 10 o'clock, right after the update. We'll talk to him, Timmy, and some interesting comments. As you know, Billy's off today because he's at the Children's Wisconsin golf outing that Brian Butch is obviously very involved in, and Mark Murphy's there. So they caught up with him for some quotes. I think it was Dave Schrader from WBAY. We'll get that after the break, and we'll also hear from Ian Rappaport to hear what some of his reporting was today about the situation.
We are here. It's No BS statewide on the game in the Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel. There's Armin Sari and Tim Allen in for Billy today. Gasper is alongside here today on the game.
Sometimes I feel like a clown. Can't wash off his makeup.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your absolute best, right? Hey, it's Billy Schmidt for QC Kinetics. I want to talk to the person who's in pain right now, or maybe it's somebody you know and love. You've done everything they've told you to do, but the pain continues to come back, and you're simply exhausted. But hey, don't give up. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet face-to-face with Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her medical team, and they'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power to help restore and repair that damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments. There's no more masking the pain. They're going right at the very source of it. And yes, you can finally say goodbye to that chronic pain that you've been living with and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. Just call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474.
Are you buying or selling? Greg Urchel here from Urchel Real Estate Group, partner of the Drew and KB Show. I've been in the real estate business for over 20 years. I'm a practicing lawyer, so I've seen almost everything there is to see when buying or selling commercial or residential real estate. I've built a trusted team around me to provide our clients with the highest level of service available in this market. We are much more than just a traditional agent. We are Urchel Real Estate Group. Buying or selling? Go to urchelrealestate.com or email me, Greg, at urchel.com. ERCHULL.com.
The Home Depot has fast, free delivery on the perfect gift to help Dad do more this Father's Day. Because Dad is more than just a dad. He's groundskeeper of the yard, the perfecter of the patio, and the cleaner of the clippings. Power Dad's doing with Ryobi cordless outdoor power tools from the Home Depot, like the Ryobi 40-volt string trimmer kit for $159. For everything Dad is, find the perfect gift at the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see homedepot.com/delivery for more details.
My24 Sports brings you the best of Wisconsin high school athletics with the WIAA State Championship Series. Thrilling matchups, electric atmospheres, unforgettable finishes. This weekend, tenacious teams take the field and bring the heat for the state softball championships. Play ball Saturday morning at 8. Watch the WIAA State Championships live on My24 and stream on My24Milwaukee.com. My place for champions. My24.
Meta AI is the personal AI that's tailored to you, now with its very own app. It's built to get to know you, offering helpful answers and inspiration. If you're looking for something to add to your bucket list, Meta AI goes beyond traveling the world. It remembers you're a basketball fan and suggests you attend one of the playoff games. Just start typing or speaking to get the answers you need, wherever, whenever, because Meta AI is your personal AI. Download and try the app today. Now available on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
At Pick and Save, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores, so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Pick and Save, you can always save with our lower prices. Pick and Save has lowered prices across the store on items like coffee, cheese, ice cream, paper towels, and even trash bags. And with Pick and Save's lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Pick and Save. Fresh for everyone.
Imagine trying to take on one of the big car companies. It's not easy. Yet recently, one local law firm finalized the largest compensatory verdict in state history against an automaker, over $38 million. And it was no fluke. That same firm has been holding big car companies accountable for faulty designs that cause injury for over 50 years. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow famously said, "Into each person's life, some rain must fall." At Ryan Waterproofing, we tend to agree, as long as it's not in your basement. Free estimates, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing, call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com.
Hey, Tinsley, why don't we use EasyCater to order food for staff lunches?
Because my 46-page acronym system is so easy. I just have to salad, stay alert to late arriving deliveries, pie, put in expenses, and Google Pie. Go out and get everyone's preferences and allergy information.
That's supposed to be simple?
No, simple is Steven, Irma, and Margie prefer lasagna and empanadas.
OMG.
No need to make work life more complicated. Just use EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
He's coming. Here he goes.
Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for anyone out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This ain't no temporary, typical, tearful goodbye.
Welcome back. It's No BS here statewide on the game. Tim Allen, Armin Sarian. There's Dave Gasper. Billy is off. Children's golf outing today, right, Armin?
Yeah, Children's Wisconsin Open. A lot of heavy hitters are there, including Mark Murphy, outgoing president of the Green Bay Packers, which I thought was pretty interesting. And this is Dave Schrader, right from WBAY, Doug, who tracked him down for some comments on Jair. And good on Mark Murphy. He's always willing to talk. So let's hear some of that.
What has he meant to the team and what has gone into this decision?
Well, first of all, he's been a great player for us. Obviously, elite talent, and unfortunately, just injured a lot. And it's kind of unfortunately that's a big part of our game.
When you look at the construction of the roster this year, obviously it leaves a hole when you lose a lockdown corner like him. What do you feel about the team's ability to absorb that type of hit?
I feel pretty good. I think Keyshawn Nixon, what a great story. He's undrafted, all-pro returner, and and the reality is for like the last 4 years, Jair, it's about half of the games he's been able to play. So we've been used to it.
What's it feel like for you coming down to the finish line of a career as president of the Packers now this summer?
No, I've been very blessed. It's such a special organization, and I'm just been very fortunate and tremendously enjoyed my time here.
So there you go, Timmy, kind of focusing on the injury and availability aspect of Jair. Great player, but he was injured too much.
Yep.
Couldn't play. And there you have it.
Well, be careful because that sets a precedent now.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? I mean, Christian Watson, anybody?
Well, sure. I think if that's the excuse and the reasoning where he just wasn't available enough, then yeah, in theory, you're right. You're saying that about any player that's injured.
But he's right. He's right, and you got to be on the field. and it's tough to blame injuries. Injuries happen, but at the end of the day, you got a player here that needs to be on the field. So I get it from Murphy's standpoint. I totally understand it. You got to be on the field here.
And I think he also implies there for the money they're spending on him that obviously he's been too hurt or not available, and makes it a less than tenable situation. But listen, I think I agree with him. Keyshawn Nixon's a great story. I hope he has a good year. Sam Shields was a great story. Undrafted. Tremont Williams. The Packers have found these guys. The Packers have been able to find these guys in late rounds or even undrafted. Carrington Valentine's a 7th rounder. That can be really good corners in this league. It's just pretty tough to try and sustain it that way. But if that's where they're at, that's where they're at, and that's what they're hoping for.
I wonder when what is the date that a lot of releases happen? Veteran releases, is that coming up soon at some point? Roster shuffles.
Yeah, I think it is around this time, actually.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but obviously guys can get cut all the way into training camp.
Right. So would it be that out of line that these guys maybe take a look at a veteran corner, maybe a guy that has had success at some point and has fallen on hard times or whatever? That's what I would recommend just in case.
Well, and I saw Matt Schneidman today tweet a picture of, I think that's Trey Hendrickson. I get it. This clears cap space. This opens up the possibility. A lot of people have asked on the text line, what about Jalen Ramsey, talking about saving money? All these are great ideas, but the reality is you can't just play Madden. Like, a lot of people like to play Madden in real life and just try and say, all right, plug this guy in, make this trade for this guy. That's just not usually the way it works. And let's be honest, Timmy, it's usually not what happens for the Packers. And if you're a Packers fan, you might say to yourself, well, I'd love to get this guy. This seems like the right guy to bring in. We've got the cap space, just get it done. How often does that really happen? You know what I mean?
That's true.
I just don't. I guess I'm past the point of expecting it to happen. And if it does, great. Matt in Milwaukee on the NickLayLaw.com talking text line. Mark my words, Hobbs will be the number 1 corner for the Packers this season. The Packers believe he can play on the outside. I believe that's coming from the special teams coach. And it's the Packers' MO to sign a guy cheaper and play above his contract.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. If that's the case, then you feel a little bit better. Sure. Don't you? If they really believe that Hobbs is the corner and can be, 3/4 or 80% of what Jair did, I think they'd be fine with that.
I think they'd love it if he played that well. I just don't know if that's really what's going to happen. I mean, they might, and if they feel that he could, that's great. But it's got to happen on the field.
But doesn't it make sense, though, that they wouldn't want to really, really fast track a deal and kiss and make up with Jair if their plan was to have Hobbs on the corner?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. If that's what their plan was. I just don't know if that's the plan. I guess I assumed that he was going to primarily play the nickel, but if he's going to play outside, and if they really, you're saying if they think he's better than Jair and they don't want to create a problem, they sign him to play that, and that's where they want him to be, and they don't want to create any.
No, if he's better than Valentine or Nixon.
Valentine Nixon. I don't think it's bad to have depth of great players. I don't think it's a problem. Maybe they would have thought that. Personally, I don't. I don't think that's an issue, and I think you're going to need cornerbacks throughout the year. Guys get hurt all the time. So, yeah, I guess in that sense that it's out of sight, out of mind now, right? That's free from their mind. They don't have to have it hanging over their head. It's not a cloud. In that sense, yes, I agree with that.
I just wonder if they're just going, thank God. This is
I'm sure many are. I'm sure there's many in that building right now that are taking a deep breath and they feel like, there's a weight lifted off. I just don't know if that makes the Packers better just because it feels better for those, for that group. That's all I'm trying to say.
So the final chapter, this does not, how many people right now think that this is all Jair Alexander's fault? So as Packer fans, I think there's quite a few of them, maybe the vast majority of them, right? I don't want to speak for.
Right. I think you're probably right.
I don't want to speak for any fans, but I think the fans, forget about the organization for a second. The fan base, are you sort of relieved that this whole saga is done? We're not trying to henpeck comments out of LaFleur and cryptically said this, and there was some cryptics by Murphy. And is he hurt? Is he not hurt? Is this an off the field thing? Did you guys talk? Was he practicing? Well, he full participant. I remember going through all of this stuff. do Packer fans now feel a little more relieved?
Yeah, I'm sure that's a great question. I'm sure many do. And I'm getting some texts here that reflect that. 864, glad that Jair Madness is over. Would have continued to be weird and problematic. I really don't care if he finds motivation elsewhere and starts playing to his potential again. It wasn't going to happen here, and we don't truly know what happened. Okay, so there you go. Out of sight, out of mind. Doesn't care if he plays better somewhere else. Because I do think a lot of people feel like that's going to happen. At least I do. I feel like, Timmy, he's going to go somewhere else, hopefully not a division rival, but maybe, and figure it out, be healthy, and have a great year. And that's going to frustrate me as a fan. But if that wasn't going to happen in Green Bay, no matter what, then I guess I have to accept that.
You wonder if across that locker room, if other players, now we'll get into the locker room here, other players, dude, what's going on with this guy? It's a distraction.
Right,
Chemistry is
right.
big, right? And camaraderie, and you're a band of brotherhood against the rest of the league. And dude, he seems like it. I wonder if some of the players were getting a little perturbed, or do they within that family understand it, that every player has its own, his own situation. I just think that the talent on the field, now Murphy put it there, he's got to be on the field. He's been injured a lot. If that's the reason, I guess I get it. But in terms of winning a Super Bowl, this makes that defense a little less on that side of the field. It just does.
Yeah.
Guys, we all know it does. It's too much talent there.
Yeah, that's where I come down on. Mickey the Fitz, go get Water Hendrickson, period. Make it happen. I wish it was that easy, Mickey. I wish we could just wish it to happen. And that's what it would
Will
be.
it to happen.
Carl and Colfax, he went out as a captain for coin toss. Yes, he did that.
He did.
Like, is that really that bad? Like, does he need to be gone? Is that the biggest, like, did he break the 11th commandment or something by doing that? People have
We
brought
don't
that
know.
up so much that it was the most offensive, egregious thing because he walked out to take a coin toss. That he's a reason, even if he's great, to not have him on the field. Like, I just can't find myself getting that worked up as much as some other people are. Like, Armin, did you forget he went out for the captain? Yes, I know that happened. Am I supposed to sit around and be like, that was the worst thing to ever happen in the Green Bay Packers organization, and therefore he should never be allowed at a dinner ever again? He should. Don't even consider him for the Hall of Fame. I mean, after he walked out to go to take a coin toss.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
I just think it's a little bit over the top. I mean, sometimes
Maybe
But-
you broke the brotherhood rule, man.
Right.
You don't do that. You're not a captain. You're not a captain, man. I can't,
And I
wish
know-
it to happen.
I know coaches feel that way. Matt Jr., there's no relief. I have an overload of anxiety now of images of Nixon and our other corners getting burned on the outside. It's easy to say right now in June. I'll agree with Matt in this point. The
I
first
think it's
time our corners
dangerous.
give up some yards, they're going to be like, well, we could have made it work with Ja, but we didn't make it work. And I know how that narrative will change.
But you
quickly.
heard Mark Murphy say he's been injured so much, we've made it work until now.
Absolutely. And
So
that's
in
I think that's
defense
how
of-
they feel about it, right?
In defense of the organization, you have to defend that line too, because that's true. Since he hasn't been on the field, has the back end of the defense been that bad?
No, they've been. Listen, McKinney made them a lot better, and I think overall they've been good. It was a
McKinney
top
was
10.
brilliant.
It was a top 10 defense last year. But I guess there's two ways to look at it, and the way I kept looking at it was, what would they be if they had Jair? Like that, we could be that much better. We could take that next
Yeah,
step.
that's
and
where
I
I'm
guess, and I guess that's where I come down on that. Let's see here if I can get one more text in.
He's a shutdown corner, guys, and it's too bad. It really is too bad that it didn't work out and that he didn't stay healthy. If that indeed was the key, could he have played? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Only he and his doctors know.
Right.
Maybe the team knew that he could and didn't, and that's where the feathers got ruffled a little bit. There's so much to this. Maybe he was a bad teammate. I don't know. From all accounts, I have not heard that from anybody. Maybe, maybe there was something they could have worked out, but at the end of the day, if it's a distraction, you have to eliminate negativity.
Indeed. Listen, and a lot of fans are saying that. A lot of texters are saying that. In the end, it seems like a lot of texters are saying, if I can paraphrase, good riddance. We're going to be fine without him. We don't need him. He didn't play anyway. So there you have it, Timmy. I guess as we get to the second hour here and Doug's update, that's how people feel.
We'll get you an update with Doug Russell in just a minute or two here. Stick around. No BS on the game statewide. There's Harman Sari and Tim Allen in for my man Bill Schmid, who is, he's got a tough assignment today.
Tough.
Great cause, tough assignment for Billy's out golfing. Wonder what's going on in that golf cart. Puts in for a good thought. Dennis Krause from the Packers Radio Network is going to join us after the break here. It's No BS statewide on the game.
Gone, gone, gone like a freight train, gone like yesterday, gone like a soldier in the Civil War, bang, bang, gone like a 59 cat.
Are you following us on Instagram?
Are you a chesty gal? If not, it seems unlikely.
You're missing exclusive behind-the-scenes content of your favorite teams and shows on The Game. Follow us right now on Instagram at 97.3 The Game.
Miller High Life. Always flavorful, always refreshing, always at the right price. The champagne of beers. Welcome to the High Life. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
The Big Three is back June 14th, and we're kicking things off in Chicago at the All-State Arena. Old school, physical, 3-on-3, the most competitive basketball in the world. Check out the Miami 305 with Mario Chalmers, Born Ready, Lance Stevenson, and the Big Three MVP, Michael Beasley. Battle it out against the Los Angeles Riot with Jeff Teague, Jordan Crawford, and Dwight Howard, coached by Swaggy P, Nick Young. Does Superman have what it takes to be the face of the league, or can big man Reggie Evans shut down Dwight Howard as he promises? A must-see season opener. Also, the Detroit Amplifiers with former two-time Big Three MVP and champion Joe Johnson taking on his former team, the Chicago Triplets. Chicago versus Detroit, always a big city rivalry. Dr. J coach and Jason Richardson and former NBA Sixth Man of the Year Montrezl Harrell. It's Big Three Fireball, and it's live on CBS. Basketball the way it's meant to be played. Intense, physical, fast. Season 8, every weekend this summer. Live on CBS, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Followed by 2 games on Vice starting at 6:30.
Oh, yay, yay!
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough nose and throat evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat, because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, Milwaukee's medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Weekend appointments available. Call now, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology.
See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Look for Mirafast at Walmart today. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/score. That's ethos.com/score.
This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game. Number one for sports and stuff. This hour of No BS is brought to you by Screamin' Sicilian Premium Craft Frozen Pizza. Find it in your local grocer's freezer and taste what all the screamin' is about. Drop it.
He's very knowledgeable, very intelligent guy, very personable guy.
Here's Doug Russell.
All right, well, after more than 4 months of is he coming back? Is he not going to come back? Are they going to try to trade him? Can they trade him? The Packers are going to release Jair Alexander. They'll get a lot of salary cap relief, $17 million of cap space as a result of the release because it occurred after June 1st. So just over $10 million of his remaining cap obligation goes on 2026 instead of 2025. The bottom line is this. He wasn't on the field very much.
Oh, it wasn't. Not enough. I mean, I think he played 7 games last year. I think he played 7 the year before. And that's obviously been the number one consternation between the team. It's unfortunate. Yep. But listen, when he did, he was an all-pro player. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it so difficult is you try and get him right. You try and get him healthy and motivated to try and put him on the field. But if he wasn't going to do it.
But was it his choice or the injury
and that's
choice?
The thing. We don't know. There's so much we don't know.
Yeah, and he's a different cat, as we all know.
Oh, very.
So in 3 of the past 4 seasons, Jaws only played less than 32% of the Packers' defensive snaps due to injuries and suspension. So he's run afoul of the coaching staff a couple of times. He only got suspended once, but Thanksgiving a couple of years ago, staying out and watching Jack Harlow instead of going in with the rest of his teammates at halftime Thanksgiving Day. That was a problem. That was a big problem.
He always marched to the beat of his own drum, which, as we know, in football doesn't always work, right?
Appointed himself captain.
Right. That's right. The coin toss thing we talked about.
That was a problem. But the bottom line is that even after he's been medically cleared, he wouldn't go out and play. And the Packers are very conservative with their medical staff. And
yes, we know that.
We can you can say that's a good thing. You can say that's a bad thing. I personally think it's something that benefits the players. But he's been medically cleared and still is not even on the injury list and then is a game day scratch.
Well, most times the divorce favors one side. So
tell me about it.
He's 28 and he's 28 years old. It's 28 years old. Speaking of divorce, we'll see if the second relationship gets the best of him or not.
Mm-hmm. But he's also 8 years into his NFL career. So he's missed 38 games. All but one. Well, he was suspended for 1 game, but all of one, which was because of injuries, played in his 14 games in the past 2 seasons.
I think a lot
and
of
he didn't want to reportedly didn't want to take a pay cut.
Right.
So
right.
add it all up.
A lot of the reaction seems to be he wasn't giving you much anyway, so it's not a loss. And I understand that line of thinking, but that also precludes the idea that he could have given you more. And if you get him to give you more, then it's a net positive. So there's a couple ways to look at it. But
I think the bottom line is the Packers coaching staff and the front office did not trust him to come back next year and give them what his contract would dictate.
At that money, yes. Correct.
So that's why he is going to be a free agent sooner rather than later.
Bummer.
All right, let's move on to baseball. Pitchers duel in the rubber game between the Brewers and the Padres. The lone run coming late.
He's done nothing but well for the Brewers.
High drive, deep left field for Manny Machado. It's back. It is gone.
Stay in the park.
Manny Machado homers and puts the Padres on top 1-0 to start the 7th inning.
Timmy, it's
Still a home run.
It's hard to think, Timmy, of a guy that's been a better, and I say better in terms of playing the role well, heel to the Brewers than Machado.
Oh, my goodness.
Whether or not he's having a good year or not, he always seems to do well against us. And it seems like he thrives off the boos. So maybe we shouldn't boo him anymore.
Yeah. and also, how about that announcer jinx about Rob Zastryzny there?
He's done nothing but well for the Brewers.
He's done nothing but well for the Brewers. Oh,
And
there's
then-
a bam.
Well, so much for that.
Fastball to Machado on full count, lefty going to Machado, full count fastball. Come on.
Yeah, but come on. You got to score runs to win. And I'm not going to
You do.
sit there
You
and
do.
blame the
Yeah,
one run
agreed.
to Machado.
Listen,
Like,
Murph's guys, they had their chances.
We hit some balls hard, but we didn't get the big hit when we needed to. We could have scored, a ton of runs. I say a ton. I mean, credit San Diego's pitching, the young kids that they have throwing the ball good, but we had a ton of traffic and it seemed like we just didn't come up with a big hit.
And I forgot to mention play-by-play courtesy of Roku.
Yes, Murphy
We're able to
might
find that game.
Two free games
Guys,
this weekend. Yeah.
one of these days, Murphy just might, instead of suppress that burp, just turn it loose.
Actually, he should. Just
Yeah.
let it rip.
He does it quite
I think we'd
frequently.
all be fine with it. We're entertained by Murph, I think.
Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
You mentioned, 2 free games. They were on Big Fox on Saturday.
Yep.
And on Roku, which I did find, by the way. I challenged myself.
There
to
were
find it.
links. If you go to brewers.com, there were links.
Well, I guess it depends. I use Roku every day.
Okay,
So
I don't have
was,
Roku.
I was used to using it and hitting play there, and it worked.
Okay,
Now, I understand if someone doesn't use it every day, how it's frustrating.
Oh, very.
So, but it's like everything's an app now anyway.
I was multitasking because I was at our next story, the American Family Championship
Yes.
in Madison to golf, the state's yearly stop at the pro golf circuit, the AmFam Championship.
Well, that's it. That is it. Clark and Bjorn are your winners of the American Family Insurance Championship. And Thomas Bjorn getting his first win on the PGA Tour Champions.
Thomas, he was awesome today. I was a little bit out of sorts there on that front line, and he was absolutely brilliant. We played great and won the tournament. So, to help Thomas, not that he needs my help, but, to get his first victory is brilliant.
Yeah, Darren Clark and Thomas Bjorn finish. Okay, so this is a team event. So take the score with a grain of salt. Minus 32.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, it's a team event.
I mean, it's so
Nobody
good.
shot over par.
It almost doesn't seem real, but yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Team events will do that.
And I don't know if you have it next. I know we're about to talk to Dennis, and I know we don't talk about it, but if you had the occasion to watch yesterday, one of the greatest examples of sport and greatness, it was the French Open final yesterday between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner,
and
an amazing 5-set marathon.
Coming up in 11 o'clock, I'll have BA's call.
Cool.
for
He
it
was
as
amazing.
well. Yeah,
Talk
BA was
about
awesome.
a 5+ hour call. That was grueling, but he did a great job. That he's just one of the finest examples of athleticism and sport you'll ever see, and performance.
Carlos-
Incredible performance.
Alcaraz has 5 Grand Slam titles, and he turned 22 last week.
Wow. And Jannik Sinner cannot beat this kid for whatever he thinks. He had 3 match points.
Wow.
And an hour and a half later lost. Like, that is
nuts.
crazy to me. That was one of the most amazing spectacles you'll ever see. But I understand it's not something we talk about a lot, but it was awesome.
And NBA Finals Game 2, the Thunder clobbered the Pacers 123-107. Easily
Order restored. Order
Is it up?
restored.
At 1-1. Game 3 is Wednesday night.
Order restored. We'll see what happens in game 3.
What, they didn't come back again? What's going on?
I know, right? That's crazy.
Broken.
Got to make it interesting.
Well, thank you, Douglas.
Thanks, boys. I'll see you in an hour.
All right, there's Doug Russell with the update, and
We're still efforting Dennis here, so
We
we'll
are.
have him in a second. We're still efforting Dennis, obviously, to talk about fallout from the Jair Alexander situation, guys. And, listen, obviously the Packers. The question now, I think, if you're a Packers fan, is what are the real prospects for having a great defense this year? They were top 10 last year. They obviously did some things as a unit very well. They have what they think is a plan in place with Keyshawn.
pass
Carrington
rush
Down
is
and
going to
Hobbs.
improve.
Yes, but pass rush has to improve.
Well,
I would
it
say,
will.
Timmy.
It can hardly get worse, but it will improve. So you're going to have some, just organically, it's going to be better. There's no doubt in my mind. And the point that Mark Murphy made in that, hey, he hasn't been on the field and we've been doing just fine, I think is ringing probably the loudest to me. That they, as you said, top 10 defense without him. And so you would think there's a chance that they'd be better. Would they be going over the top good with Jair on the field? Probably. But I think there's a chance they'll be better because Valentine, another year under his belt. Nixon's going to get a test. And there's, you want to talk about an X factor on defense. I think I point to Nixon. And he's up for the challenge. He is, but we'll see.
Yeah, he is up for the challenge. I agree, and he'll always tell you that. He has supreme confidence in himself, especially as a corner and as a returner. He said he thinks he's the number one corner, right? And he had said that in the past.
That's
so,
right.
I hope he is, and I hope he stays healthy. I think that's the number one thing. I don't think it's necessarily the quality of the guys, but it's can they stay healthy all year, and then how well can they play as a unit?
That
if they stay
position.
healthy.
That position in the NFL, that position in all of the world of sports has always just amazed me. How is it possible that these dudes can stay right in their hip pocket?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Of a wide receiver when the wide receiver knows where he's going and you don't.
And as the emergence of the importance of the receivers, the importance of those guys, cover guys, obviously increases as well. All right, I think we have Dennis now, Timmy. Dennis Krause from the Packers Radio Network.
Dennis Krause, Packers Radio Network. So finally you return the favor and get on a radio show that I'm on. I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, I owe you about 20.
All right. Initial reaction. We've been talking about it here all morning here on the game. And your initial reaction to the departing of Jair Alexander.
I guess I was not totally surprised. It's been an awkward offseason. I think that they offered him a restructured contract reportedly, and he didn't want to take that. I can understand where he's coming from. Why would you want to go from a contract that guarantees money to a contract that is contingent on how many games you play? I also think they tried to trade him, but teams are reluctant to do that because they knew this day was probably coming where they could get him for, nothing as far as trade aspects, and then they just have to sign him to a contract. So I just think it's unfortunate. I mean, you got a former first-round draft pick. Clearly, he was a terrific player when he was healthy enough to play, but it just came down to, they looked at 14 regular season games over the last 2 years at a very high price, and they just felt they couldn't do it.
Yeah, disappointing. And I think that's the right way to look at it, Dennis. Unfortunately, it looked like from what we were hearing, the last few weeks that it was going to go the other way, that there was going to be a reunion with Jair and the Packers. I think that's what was the disappointing part for some people hearing it was this was not what we were expecting. We were expecting Jair to somehow be in the fold for 2025.
Yeah, I think, the reports were all over the place, and I know Matt Schneidman had some excellent reporting on where things stood. But I think from Alexander's standpoint, he now gets to hit the open market. There's been some talk that the 49ers are the early betting favorites to sign him in free agency. He's 28 years old. He can kind of cut his own deal and go somewhere else and get a fresh start.
You have some inside sources, and you are well connected, Dennis Krause. You ready? No.
I'm ready. Bring it on.
How much do we not know here? Because I have this feeling through all of this that there's so much more that we don't know and probably will never know.
Well, I would agree with that. And I would also say I don't know. I mean, as flattering as you say it is, I mean, there are some things that I don't know in this situation. I'm sure there are some things that none of us know. I don't think that the reason was because he was a distraction. We go back to the suspension over the hijacked coin toss or whatever, but I don't think that was the driving force in all this. I think the driving force in all this was, as you guys know and the listeners know, coaches hate uncertainty.
Yeah.
They want to know who they have. And I think it was a week-to-week thing he practiced a little bit. Is he going to be able to go? And no, on Sunday he couldn't go. And so they hated that disruption to what they had. And I think they looked at it probably. I'm guessing here. I don't know. No one from the Packers has told me this, but I would assume they went through the OTAs. They signed Nate Hobbs in free agency. They've gotten a look at Keyshawn Nixon as a corner, and they must have come to the conclusion that, it's going to be painful, but we can be okay without him. Are they a better team without him? No, I don't think you can make that case. But
they obviously feel they're going to be okay to accomplish their very high goals without Jair Alexander.
Well, and you just answered what my next question was going to be, Dennis. The question of are they better now than they were yesterday seems to be a big debate right now in the conversation amongst them. But I would agree with you. I'd say can't say they're better, but they're at least now going to be starting a new era without him in that sense. More cap space is being freed up. A lot of people, a lot of fans, I know have certain pipe dreams that maybe that will mean they could bring somebody in, take a big swing at somebody like a Trey Hendrickson. Do you see any of that happening? Do you think the Packers will use this money for something like that?
Well, they also have several of their own players that they want to extend, and I would just my guess is that'll be where they put the money. I know there's been some speculation about Jalen Ramsey. I'm not going to rule that out because I don't know what they're looking at, but I would find that surprising somewhat because I think that he's going to really want to have to come to Green Bay, and I'm not sure what his other offers will be. But you might be looking at a situation there where you're, in essence, getting the same situation, just an older player that you're not going to be sure if he can play every week. We know the last few years they've gone young. They've skewed young with their roster. I think what is fair to look at is, okay, if they knew this day was perhaps coming, why didn't they draft a corner higher than the seventh round in the draft?
Right.
That's a criticism that I think is fair at this point.
Well, even if they like the guys they have right now at the position, they did sign Nate Hobbs. You would think, at least for depth's sake, because the guys will get hurt. I mean, that's just the way it is. Injury rate's going to be 100% in this league, especially that position. They're going to need more depth there, I would think.
Yeah, I think they like King, the seventh round pick from last year. I know they like Keyshawn Nixon. Obviously, they like Nate Hobbs, and they like Carrington Valentine. So they probably think those are their top three corners now in this post-Alexander world. But you're right. Injuries happen. You're going to need more people. Are they going to go out and sign or trade for Trey Hendrickson? You never say never, but I just don't see them doing that because it costs you two ways. It costs you what you have to give up to get him, and it costs you to re-sign him. Otherwise, he's just a rental. So I'd be surprised if they did that.
All right, so the organization might feel a little bit better. Obviously, you got to have confidence and conviction in your decisions. Now, what about the players? I mean, chemistry is a big thing. You think this from the defensive coordinator, head coach, D coordinator on down. Do they feel relieved? As fans, we might feel relieved that this saga is over, but what about the guys on defense?
Well, I think you got two different questions there, Tim. I think you have, how does the coaching staff feel? And I would think behind closed doors, they've been kind of preparing for this day. And then you have players like Xavier McKinney, who's been vocal about, his friend Jordan Love has even said, hey, that's the guy I want on the team. I think in the end, because we've all been around this business long enough, in the end, the players will look around the locker room and say, hey, this was a business decision that the team felt they had to make. And it goes back to, hey, we wish Jair the best, but this is what they felt they needed to do.
Dennis, as we all know, we're talking a lot about the secondary with this situation, of course. Nothing helps a secondary better than a great pass rush. The pass rush was inconsistent, I'd say, at best for the Packers last year. You had a really nice feature about Lucas Van Ness at SpectrumNews1.com. What do you think is going to have to happen for him and for the rest of the pass rush to really take that next step and become difference makers?
Well, the Packers are counting on internal improvement to help that pass rush. And the reason they feel that way is because you mentioned Van Ness, also Kenny Clark last year was playing through an injury. And they feel with those guys healthy, their current roster, they can get the pass rush they need. But your point is well taken. It's intertwined, the pass rush and the secondary. And if a secondary has to cover for 7 seconds, I don't care who you have back there, you're going to have a problem. You've got to affect the quarterback.
Well, Van Ness, do we see the next step? I mentioned last hour to Armin here that you would think organically that the defensive rush would be a little bit better at the very least. I mean, you can't I shouldn't say you can't get much worse because things could always be worse, but I think organically they're gonna grow a little bit more. But that's to me part of it. Do they sign maybe a veteran, a cast off here, just because they certainly have money to play with a little bit. Not that veteran cast off is going to cost you any money, but at least for depth at what if Nixon doesn't work out? What if there's an injury? I mean, a lot of what ifs here.
Yeah, I think to answer your question directly, I think they'll get through the mandatory minicamp, which is this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then maybe start training camp and see what they have, and then say, hey, this either is a problem area or we're doing just fine here, and then they'll make that judgment on what you're talking about there. I don't expect them to, in the next 24 to 48 hours, make some big move.
Right.
I just think they're gonna let things fall and see how things shake out, and then they'll make a decision.
All right. So top 10 defense again then this year?
Tell us, Dennis. See the future for us.
What am I? I don't know. I mean, I think I like Jeff Hafley. I like what he's done as far as the defensive coordinator, but I think it's too early to make brash predictions. Tim Allen might be able to make those type of brash predictions.
Right.
But I'm not that strong. I can't do that.
Well, at least Elton Jenkins showed up today. I mean, there's some positive news, right? And that's what we need. So he's reported. He's not going to practice, but
it's fair to bring that up because, I mean, there's a guy, too, that I don't think he's, quote, disenchanted. I just think he wants to work it out. If he's going to move to center and sacrifice, him money, perhaps, then he wants the Packers to, he wants the Packers to take care of him from a financial
absolutely,
standpoint.
which is understandable. These guys have to look out for that. I get it. I totally get it.
Physically healthy, the Packers are a better defense with Jair on the field. We'll see if it offsets by the relief of it being done and by it being uncertainty, as you started out with, Dennis. I think that was a great word. But we'll see if it's offset by the fact that there's no distractions anymore, because it had to be somewhat of a distraction for everybody involved, including the fans.
Yeah, I think, I'm just looking at it from Keyshawn Nixon's perspective. I'm sure it got old answering questions about, Jair Alexander and what Keyshawn's role is going to be. And I think that now everybody knows where things are headed.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Dennis Krause, Spectrum, and the Packers Radio Network here on No BS on the Game statewide. We appreciate the time, Dennis, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Dennis.
Dennis Krause, good friend of mine. Gosh, going back years.
You guys are both OGs. Use that in the most complimentary sense that I possibly can. And those that know that. So
appear on his round table once in a while, and he's always giving me grief.
Yeah. Well, that's
fun.
That's what's great about it. That's what's great about Dennis. It's like you got to be able to dish it out and give it back, and both of you guys do that.
So those of you that follow, I don't want to make this about me, not at all. And I don't mind talking about Green Bay Packers football and Jair Alexander and the defense and what Jeff Hafley has in front of him and the whole deal. I get it. Seemingly every time I fill in on a show and have all these Brewer things lined up and ready to go,
that always happens.
Something happens.
Bucks trade for Damian Lillard or something happens.
Yes.
And that's always what happens to you. It seems like, Timmy.
That's crazy.
We're giving you plenty of ample show time here to talk about your favorite topic.
Yeah, we got some Brewers coming up in our conversations as we move along here in the Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel. There's Armin Sarian, Dave Gasper, Tim Allen in for Bill today. Statewide, it's No BS on the Game.
Are you looking for a new pool or maybe want to update your current pool? John Kuhn here for Splash Pools and Spas. For 16 years, customers have trusted Splash Custom Pools and Spas for high quality, great value, and reliability to have their pool services done right. Splash's team of trained professionals specialized in pool and spa customization and regularly scheduled servicing throughout Northeast Wisconsin and the surrounding areas. They even offer on-site pool chemical supplies. Owning a swimming pool is a great way to enjoy time with the family and friends, and Splash ensures that your pool is always safe and clean with water that is properly balanced, sparkling, and ready for swimming at all times. Check out their Facebook page to see some of their recent projects and find them online at splashcustompools.com. Or you can call them at 920-465-8100. That's 920-465-8100 and make a splash this summer.
Now on the game.
We have some significant news for the Green Bay Packers. Sources say they have informed Pro Bowl cornerback Jair Alexander of his release.
Reaction and analysis.
That's the reality of the NFL. If you're a big enough star, or if you feel like I'm going to hurt myself again, Packers couldn't do anything about that. They can't force a guy to play. It was pretty clear that, well, I think this is going to end.
The home for the Packers and fans everywhere. We are 97.3 The Game.
This September, our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One is coming back to Las Vegas.
And you can win your way to be there.
Streaming live only on Hulu. Tickets go on sale June 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific through AXS.com. But starting Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, Capital One cardholders get first access to tickets and other exclusive offers for 48 hours only, or while presale tickets last. Visit iHeartRadio.com/Capital One for more presale details. What's in your wallet? Keep listening for the next chance to win your way to our iHeartRadio Music Festival. Presented by Capital One.
What has a lake, superb food and drink, and the biggest variety of music on the planet? Yep, it's Summerfest 2025.
Milwaukee's lakefront, cold beer, live music. There's nothing better.
For 3 weekends, June 19th through 21st, June 26th through 28th, and July 3rd through 5th. Thousands of festive souls listen to music from over 600 artists on 9 different stages. Go for the sun, music, food, and to watch the people, or go to be watched by other people. Check out the schedule and more at summerfest.com.
All right, team, listen up. Merle the Squirrel's here to tell you why Capital's duck cleaning is a game changer.
What did he say?
He said, if you haven't cleaned your ducks in 5 years, you're breathing in all kinds of junk. And unlike those companies who use glorified shop vacs, we use high-powered trucks to clean your ducks the right way.
Yeah, makes sense. Cleaner ducks, cleaner air, healthier home.
Exactly.
Schedule your duck cleaning today and save $200. That's right, save $200. Call CapitalCares.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages with the latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
He's coming. Here he goes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for anyone out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money.
But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless.
What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
iHeartRadio just gave driving an upgrade with Presets, now on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Your go-to stations, podcasts, and playlists, all just a tap away on your dash. Start your engine, hit play, and drive happy. Free with iHeartRadio on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Live from the all-new Iron Jock Studios, built by Rima Remodel. This is No BS with Billy and Sarnia.
I've waited for this. I'm so excited.
On the Game.
Yo, Pan, you ready? Yeah. Man, let's lock and load. Yeah. Just play. Yeah. No, turn me up. Hey. I think we got one. Yeah. Here we go. Tell me
All right, here we go. No BS here, statewide on the Game in the Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel. There's Harman Sarian, Dave Gasper, Tim Allen, and, of course, the Jair Alexander situation is always there for you. NicoletLaw.com talking text line at 877-794-1973. We're filling in here today for Billy, and Billy just sent a video out. We've talked about this on the post-game show about golfing and being around alligators in Florida.
I always complain about also, I make little jokes about how much golf guys love their odd, obscene, draconian golf rules, and when do you have to take a drop and when do you have to take a stroke and all these different things. And I was making the joke the other day about, if the ball hits a soft shell turtle and goes back into the water off a tree, it's a stroke. So I get this Snapchat from Billy because he's obviously at Butamore right now of the Children's Open, helping out, with the Children's Wisconsin charity event that Brian Butch is helping lead, and obviously Mark Murphy's there. And all I get is a video of a pretty good sized snapping turtle in the bunker. Now this is egg laying season for the turtles. I know this very well from my walks. Springtime, early summer, that's when they're out laying eggs, and you got to know your snappers. You got to know your turtle species. I'm not going to say they're necessarily aggressive. It's still a turtle, especially when they're out of the water. But Timmy, it's not something you want to test. They'll snap at you. That's not something you want to test in that situation, especially if you have a young pet or a young child. Keep them away. Those things can be units. And Billy's out there, and I don't know if Billy hit the ball into the sand trap that said snapping turtle is parked up on. I'm not sure if they're laying eggs. I can tell you one thing. That's one of those where I'm just going to reach right back into the bag and get a new ball. I'm not trying to fish my ball out of the butt of a snapping turtle area, because
I need to save that for a draw.
Well, I'm just saying it's a white golf ball. It could be an egg. It could be a golf ball right under the shell. You really don't know.
And all of a sudden just yolk flies everywhere.
You don't really know what's going to happen in that situation. I'm probably not going to mess with a snapper while it's laying eggs. Now, I couldn't tell if it was laying eggs in this situation. But like I said, don't want to mess with it. So I don't know how this is working out for Billy right now as he's dealing with the snapping turtle situation at the bunker on one of the many beautiful holes.
I got to say, a sand trap on a golf course is probably like the worst spot for a turtle to lay its eggs because there's going to be so much
Everybody's
traffic in
in
there. Everyone's in the sand trap all the time.
However, it's easy to dig and burrow, and that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to make those holes to drop their eggs in. So listen, that thing was definitely a snapper. You could tell by the tail. You could tell by the man. You got to know your turtle species out there when you're walking around out there.
Yeah, on the post-game show, we've been talking about that with alligators on the golf courses in Florida and how people are just fine with it. Yeah, just leave them alone.
They're just used to it, right? If you don't feed them, you just know how to deal with it. Wow. You think there's a little too much confidence there, though? I mean, do we have to respect nature a little bit more, Timmy, in this situation?
I say eradicate the creatures.
Wow, that's tough.
Okay.
You're the conservationists will not be happy with you.
We're
Throw
going to
'em
have
back in the
PETA calling into
Everglades.
the show here any moment now, Tim.
Throw them back in the Everglades. Put them back in their habitat. We
Well,
should share a habitat.
It's not
with
that
them.
easy to pick up an alligator, Timmy.
Just throw them all back.
Well,
What do you mean? Well, that's okay.
For you wildlife officials, every year in Florida, they give out thousands of permits to go hunt and depopulate the alligators. Why do you think they do that?
Well, I understand that, but the point of like you just said eradicate them, and then you said put on the Everglades. Those are two
I meant
problems.
eradicate from the area. How about
Well,
that?
maybe humans are in their area. And what about that theory? Okay.
All right. Okay. So last week I was on with you guys. Last week or the week before, Armin, and I was telling a story. I read an article. This is out of Chicago that gentleman returned a library book. It was a sports book, a baseball book, to the public library 50 years later. Okay.
Wow, 50 years.
50 years.
What a flex, by the way.
Yeah.
Imagine the blank stare at the library. Thank you.
Could you imagine the fine?
Thanks. Yeah.
I wonder what his fine was.
At 2 cents a day for 50
Well,
years.
the juice is running on that bad boy. Yeah.
I think it
2
was
cents.
a couple of pennies a day back in the day, wasn't it?
Well, it
wasn't
was a
much.
nickel for me growing up, or 10 cents, I think.
Okay, yeah. So a couple cents prior to that. So it got me to thinking about my hardcover books is a whole, but just boxes and bins of them, and they're all sports book, baseball mainly. And some of them, four or five of them are from the Mauston, Wisconsin Public Library. Okay, I'm assuming the statute of limitations is up on this. I could easily return them, right? Just like this
Right.
cat did,
But
right?
you know it's yours. You don't want to get also in trouble, right?
And
I mean,
I don't. They've been sitting in a box for decades, but they're still mine. I think. I can't remember if I checked them out and kept them or just stole them. I don't remember, honestly. I'm going to lean toward
borrowed or forgot to return.
I'm going to lean toward that
because you don't want to think of yourself as a thief, right? Isn't that the idea?
It's exactly the idea. So it got me to thinking about what I'm willing to admit I stole now. So I can admit it now, but it's sort of what have you stolen from a hotel room?
Sure.
Or I'll give you a brewer story. Okay. In the 70s, late 70s, once we got our driver's license, we'd go to a lot of brewer games. We were working at Six Flags at that time, Great America, Marriott's Great America in Gurnee.
Yeah.
And
great spot. Went there every summer.
Yeah. After the daytime shift, we'd drive up, catch the night game at County Stadium. Well, we'd stay in the stadium afterwards. We're 17 years old, and we'd stay in the stadium. They'd clear out the bathrooms, but little did they know we were hiding in the stalls on the toilets.
The doubleheader, right?
Well, no, just after the game. This is at night, late at night. So everybody left.
You stayed at County Stadium?
Stayed in there at late at night.
Wow.
Just a Barney Fife walking around, and he's not going to do anything. We found our way into the Brewers locker room.
Well, that's amazing. That is incredible. Like, to think about the level of security that exists now.
Right.
The fact that you were able to do that, just to hide out. I mean, it kind of every kid's dream was to hide out and have your whole run to the stadium, right? And when I was a kid, like,
I've admitted this before.
Wow.
And I'm sure the statute of limitations is up, but all the players had gone. Everyone's out. We're just, hey, there's a placard right there with R. Yount and then 19.
Wow, you took his locker room nameplate.
There was just a crappy old piece of metal. That's all it was.
Yeah, sure.
And so I can admit it now. This was 1980 maybe.
Yeah,
somewhere in there. A hotel room. I grabbed a little organizer that just it fell right into my suitcase. People are going to hate me because of all this.
It fell into my suitcase. I don't think that's when it comes to hotels. I think people have differing opinions on that. Like, I've taken stuff all the time from hotels, but I don't consider it stealing.
Like
maybe
a towel.
I should.
I take the pens. You know,
you got to take all the shampoos, all the pens.
Shampoo.
Now, a towel or a robe is different, but I think I paid for them. It's like you paid the room fee, Phil.
You're not
Bill.
taking an end table.
No, you can't take lamps and end tables and stuff like that. You can't
No.
take appliances. You can't take TVs.
Yeah.
Shouldn't take a hairdryer.
Are you
the
willing
dresser.
to admit that you stole something years ago?
See, I wish I had more adventurous stories like
Yeah.
that, but I was too afraid of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Like,
Armin and I are more rule followers, I guess. Than you are,
Really?
Timmy.
Weren't you
Yeah.
afraid that someone was gonna like catch you taking Billy Joe Robideau's like batting glove?
Well, I didn't do that. It was
Or
just
Mark Brohart's
you know what?
cleats.
Hold
or
on.
something.
Now it's coming to me. It was okay. Here's what it was. Okay, it was before the Brewers. It was after the Brewers got a new locker room. Their locker room used to be on the main concourse.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Okay. So this was the old locker room that the players would meet their wives at.
Gotcha.
Okay. And,
Okay.
Oh, and girlfriends and whatever.
Yeah.
That's where we snuck into. But the old lockers were still up and these crappy nameplates were still on the top of it. Okay. So it wasn't the actual clubhouse. It was the old clubhouse, but they had just moved to their new one. So am I just a rotten, evil person and going to burn in hell?
I don't think you are rotten evil. I don't think you will. But I mean, I don't make those decisions, but I don't think you'll burn in hell. But
how many people stole penny candy or baseball
I'm sure there's a
cards
lot of
from-
guys stealing candy. Yeah, I'm so curious to know on the text line. Nick contact and text line.
eating a donut while you're shopping.
Yeah, now what about grapes? Like Butch has had this debate all the time, saying people and his dad own a grocery store walking around eating food and they shouldn't. They think it's free and it's not. Like testing the grapes out, trying a grape.
Well, and then when you check out, like it's by the pound. So it's sold by weight. So like you have fewer in there, then the cost is less.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
Or
weight
should I just
factor.
return the books? I could return the books to Mauston, Wisconsin. Everyone knows
Yeah.
where that is, right?
Hey, I got a
of
buddy who
course.
lives out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need
Cool little
Jake,
town.
Jake and the 4 and 4 need Mr. Bookman from Seinfeld to investigate. That's one of the great episodes ever.
Yes.
What-
So I could return them and feel a little bit better about
What about
things.
theft or like deception? Like, what about the guys that go to the airport and they try and put their foot on the
On the scale.
on the luggage so it doesn't weigh 50 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they're
lift
ready,
it up a little
They
bit.
lift it. Yeah.
they're ready to risk. I'm sure that airport workers have seen every trick in the book. They think they're being genius. Like who could come up with this idea? Like it's a trick that putting they're ready to risk it all to save the $30 overweight fee. You know what I
Somebody
mean?
leaves something at American Family Field in their seat. And it's like a bag from the fan shop, and it's got a brand new hat and a jersey in there, probably $150, $200. Do you return that, or
That's a good
it's
question.
got his bobble giveaway or something in there as well?
I mean, depends on who the jersey is. I mean, one time I ended up with they had these like mystery boxes thing. I ended up with a Matt Albers jersey. That one I might just leave there. But if it's a Jackson Churio jersey, if it's a Christian Yelich jersey, it's like I think this might be mine now.
Now, if it's a purse or a wallet left in the stands,
I
and
got to return that.
you just do.
There was a game in the 70s or 80s where the Royals stuff got stolen, right? Their entire uniform set. Like they're on a road trip to Milwaukee County Stadium and they played a game in the Brewers
right.
road jerseys. Isn't
I
that
do
true?
remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's wild too. I mean, the amount of stuff people noobs from Sussex, aren't logo pens meant to be taken? Because then you have it in your purse and your bag and you lend it to someone, they see the logo and it's
Could
advertising.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Unnamed the 414. Of course, these are all gonna be unnamed now. People are admitting to theft. I
No,
used to
these are
work-
things you are willing to admit.
Yes. I used to work special events for Miller Brands and we had the County Stadium account. The last game we had to clear all the beer out and all the I don't know what that is. There's a turnstile graveyard in the basement. I put one of the original turnstiles on a pallet of beer and loaded it into our truck. I have to well, that's sort of like garbage though, right?
Maybe.
When they were knocking down the Bradley Center, I had this dream of going dumpster diving and to find all the old signs and stuff like that. I don't consider that theft if it's garbage. If you go and grab something out of someone's garbage, it's not stealing. Or is it? That's a tough one, I guess.
No, if it's by the curb, I think it's okay.
Oh, okay. A 10 to 920. I have a sweet set of Gore-Tex rain gear and sleeping bags from the United States Marine Corps. I claim them destroyed in combat in Afghanistan. Wow. Well, thank you for your service, and I'll
Yes.
I'm okay as a taxpayer willing to let you have the Gore-Tex sleeping bag.
And I'm very impressed with people admitting that they've done this. So I don't feel so bad now.
Now, this is up your alley. I realize I learned this a couple weeks ago. I read about it. Did you know unused credits in a slot machine, at least in the state of Nevada, if you use them or take them, that's considered theft?
No
Did
way.
you know that, Timmy? I always would walk
did
around
not.
like, thinking I'm going to get a quarter out of the payphones. Remember we used to walk around looking
You
for
bet.
quarters?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Anything in the return thing underneath? Yeah.
I always kind of look around and see if there's any unused credits, and I just print it out. But technically, that's stealing. That's theft.
Wow.
It's not your property.
What about finding a uncashed ticket on a casino floor?
That's a great question. I'm not really sure. If it's on the floor, you would think it's available to anybody, right?
Okay. You thieves.
Yeah.
You thieves. You belong in behind bars, you foul-mouthed hooligans.
Well, we'll get some more on the NickLayLaw.com talking text line I know after the break here.
Okay, 877-794-1973. We will get to some Brewers conversation as well as the Brewers offense. I want a definition on this Brewers offense. Armin and I have been off the air going back and forth on this stuff.
We're fighting
Yep,
about it. Yeah.
It's a good debate. So we'll talk about that. There's Armin Sarian, Dave Gasper, Tim Allen in for Billy today. It's here in the Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel. It's the No BS statewide here on the Game, Monday edition.
Axis, he ain't gonna let those two escape justice. He makes his living.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's your Green Bay football buddy John Kuhn here, reminding you to buckle up for safety whenever you get in your vehicle. Whether you're driving to work, school, shopping, or to catch the big game, remember, click it or ticket. Buckling up saves lives. Every trip, every time. Don't risk it, guys. It's not worth the ticket or the danger. Click it or ticket. 0 in Wisconsin. Together, we can save lives. Brought to you by Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
At the Game, we've always been about sports. I love sports and stuff.
I'm multifaceted.
So recently, we spent a lot of money using a consultant to come up with a new name for our website. After minutes of research, we're excited to announce 97.3 thegame.com is now thegameandstuff.com. Really? That's it. Thegameandstuff.com. Your favorite shows, live, podcasts, cool videos, and more. Thegameandstuff.com. That's it.
Hey guys, Billy Schmidt here with my friends at Milwaukee Weight Loss. As summer is in full swing, you want to be living your absolute best. And maybe that means losing a couple of pounds. Milwaukee Weight Loss's doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose up to 1 pound of fat every day. And you can do it without drugs or injections with the risks of serious side effects, and no prepackaged meal program, no bars or shakes, and no exercising even required. Their program helps you reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good, and their coaches are there for ongoing support. Whatever questions you have, they're with you every step of the way. And the best part, Milwaukee Weight Loss's program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs that you've either heard of or maybe even tried. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com today. Schedule a free consultation. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in the first month or two. That's up to a pound a day. Give them a call at 262-433-4008 or go online to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Once again, that's 262-433-4008 or MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. And when you sign up, make sure you tell them they heard about it on the Game and that Billy Schmidt sent you. Results may vary.
Hey, it's Armin, and I have to tell you, I could not be happier with our new 97.3 The Game broadcast studio built by Reamer Remodel. It's been a game changer, all thanks to the Reamer Remodel team. RIEMER Remodel.com.
Milwaukee's very own NFL stars Eric Murray and Dore Ogunbowale are hosting a free football camp June 14th at Vincent High. Give your kid a shot to learn from the pros. Register now at themilfootballcamp.eventbrite.com.
I'm Monica Kessler.
Monica makes sure that everything at Kessler's is worthy of a lifetime warranty.
The quality of your ring is incredibly important when it comes to diamond setting, ring sizing, and repairs.
Monica has been part of Kessler's since she was 6 years old.
Let me tell you how to judge the quality of the jewelry you're buying.
It's easier than you think.
All you have to do is read the warranty.
Most stores offer a 5-year warranty, but Kessler's offers a lifetime warranty, the strongest in the world.
We can do it because we put more gold in your jewelry.
When a jeweler wants to make a bigger profit, they put less gold into the jewelry. This makes it bit thinner and easier to break.
Theirs might look like ours at first glance, but Kessler's jewelry is made not to break, and that takes more gold.
We give you a lifetime warranty because our jewelry is made to last forever, just like your love.
Gold is more than $2,000 an ounce.
Kessler's gives you more gold, a lot more gold.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
The Fox 6 weather experts are presented by AdventKnows.com.
Scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms a possibility today. Should warm to the upper 60s near 70 degrees. We clear out tonight, drop into the low 50s, and then some sunshine and mid to upper 70s for tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Argo Glass and Windows.
No need to replace windows when you can repair them. Argo Glass and Windows, always offering free estimates using high-quality materials with long-term warranties. So there's no need to replace windows when you can repair them. Visit ArgoWindowRepair.com.
Exclusive coverage of your favorite teams. Exclusive videos from your favorite game personalities.
I am a follower.
Content you can't get anywhere else. 97.3 The Game on Instagram.
Don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said,
All right, welcome back. It's No BS Statewide here on The Game. There's Ansari, Tim Allen. Big news of the day. Jair Alexander and the Green Bay Packers are headed for an official divorce. And more on that. Might have a little surprise for you coming up. Do you want to tell them about that, Armin?
Well, let's not say anything yet because we don't know what's going to happen.
Don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, we don't want to say it. I don't want to oversell something, you know?
Okay.
They always sell under promise, over deliver. So.
All right. Well, more on that in just a bit. Also, the definition of the Brewers offense right now. Good, bad,
average, middle,
average.
I don't know. That's another debate we're about to have. I know we're going to do that. So there's a lot going on. I mean,
I'm going to say it's more along the
sense,
lines of those over promise and under deliver.
Maybe
is what they've
maybe
been on.
Or is
certainly
it
on
improving?
under delivering?
Getting better? Is it bound to get better? Is it not?
We all know about the defense. We all know about the bullpen. We all know about the starting rotation. Offense is that big question mark there. And we saw it over the weekend. And you might say the word inconsistent. That definitely is true.
Definitely fair. I mean, obviously, that's what's been going on. Early in May, couldn't get anything going. They got hot as of late the last couple of weeks. It's been great. This weekend, couldn't score much and only took 1 out of 3.
So also, what are you willing to admit that you have stolen in your life?
A lot of good stuff here. A lot of good stuff.
And you know, it's some of it is innocent. I'll give you another example. Hotel room. This wasn't honestly that long ago. I'm a little catch-all box guy. I don't know if you guys are organizing, and I like little containers to keep, you know, whatever, guitar picks or chords or whatever, and baseball cards fits just perfectly in this box sort of thing. There was a little catch-all thing in a hotel room that had almost like a Lazy Susan, but it was for the coffee stuff. It had the coffee, it had the sweetener, and it had the stir sticks and the napkins and all this stuff. But it was just a square box that was partitioned off with all these little spaces in it. And I thought, you know, that could go in my drawer. I'll tell you what, I'll buy it. And I asked the person I was with in another room, I said, why don't you ask if you can buy that thing? Because I didn't want to ask if I could buy it, because then if it was gone, they knew I took it, right? So I had someone else ask. And they said, no, that's not for sale. I said, offer them $50 for it.
Okay.
And they wouldn't take it.
Wow.
So I had to take the one out of my room.
Oh, no.
At least you tried, I guess. We have an immense, a lot more.
I would have paid for it. Had it come on the bill, I would have just signed off on it.
A lot more people than I'm surprised willing to admit what they've stolen. We're getting texts just flooding in here. Grocery store Mike, a coworker, and I, when working the candy load, anything packaged that got sliced open was free game to us. At time, we would purposely slice a package of our favorites to get a snack. Well, yeah, that's damaged. Put it in the damage bin right there. That's damaged.
That's right.
Andy in Belgium, I used to drink at the bar that stole 2 racing sausage costumes.
Oh,
in Cedarburg.
I remember that.
Yeah. How they got those, you know what I mean? Dark tubing. I'm going to really quick here before the break. 1990, I'm 7 years old. I bike to the Port Apothecary. I steal a candy bar, bike home, got away with it, fell off, bike back, put it back, undetected. Nobody knows.
There you go. You're just a great person.
Yeah, I love that.
Wow. I feel like a felon right now.
Well, we got a lot more of these. We're going to have an update coming up, obviously. Going to sneak in Billy's Parlay of the Day. And
I want to ask Doug Russell if he's stolen anything that he's willing to admit.
Besides the hearts.
Yeah, there you go. All right, it's No BS, a Monday edition here. Statewide on the game. There's Dave Gasper, Armin Sari, and Tim Allen in for Bill Schmid today.
Now on the game.
We have some significant news for the Green Bay Packers. Sources say they have informed Pro Bowl cornerback Jair Alexander of his release.
Reaction and analysis now.
Can't have a player just going rogue and putting himself in there as a captain and calling the coin flip. I mean, come on. Nobody's bigger than the team, for God's sakes.
The home for the Packers and fans everywhere. We are 97.3 The Game.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your absolute best, right? Hey, it's Billy Schmid for QC Kinetics. I want to talk to the person who's in pain right now, or maybe it's somebody you know and love. You've done everything they've told you to do, but the pain continues to come back, and you're simply exhausted. But hey, don't give up. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet face-to-face with Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her medical team, and they'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power to help restore and repair that damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments. There's no more masking the pain. They're going right at the very source of it. And yes, you can finally say goodbye to that chronic pain that you've been living with and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. Just call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474.
If you have a snoring problem or sleep apnea, odds are you have blockage in both your throat and your nose. Now, for those who've gone elsewhere and wonder why their issues aren't getting better, this is where the problem lies. Because the true root of your problem very well may be your nose. We believe we'll find that your nose isn't working the way it should. And once we do get your nose working, your CPAP mask can finally work, or you can lose that CPAP mask altogether. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we offer every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution available, including simple in-office procedures that can get your nose and your throat working properly. It's a simple concept. If you're going to get your best sleep, you have to be able to breathe well. Go to adventknows.com to schedule an appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Could your vehicle's sound system use an upgrade? At Charisma Customs, we can help. Upgrade your car, truck, motorcycle, or boat. From a simple stereo install, adding Apple CarPlay, or adding a subwoofer, Charisma Customs can transform your car, truck, motorcycle, or boat. Don't like speeding tickets? We also install radar and laser defense systems. Enjoy your ride and stay protected. Call Charisma Customs today, 262-444-2525, or check us out at charismacustoms.com.
He's coming. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology.
See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Message marked urgent. We're here for you now on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line at 1-877-794-1973.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you want the lowest price. With their lowest price guarantee, if you find a qualifying lower price on the same item, they'll match it. Price match applies to the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how they'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Grab the contest rules for 97.3 The Game at thegamemke.com.
Number one on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee. 97.3 The Game. There is no BS with Screamin' Sicilian Premium Craft Frozen Pizza. Find it in your local grocer's freezer and taste what all the screaming is about. Drop it.
He's very knowledgeable, very intelligent guy, very personable guy.
Here's Doug Russell.
All right, our top story, of course, the Packers are releasing Jaire Alexander. Bottom line, wasn't available enough. He's run afoul of the coaching staff, didn't want to take a pay cut. No one else would trade anything for him. At least that's according to the reports. The Packers saved some $17 million in cap space. Hopefully, we will get some more clarity on this momentarily. Stay tuned to the game. All right, moving on to AmFam Field. The Brewers had their chances Sunday in the rubber game of their series with the Padres, but just couldn't get the big hit. Manny Machado with a solo home run in the seventh. That was it. Freddie Peralta was stellar. He pitched 6 innings of one-hit shutout ball. His outing, though, without any support, wasted.
At the end of the day, we as a team, we want to win. That's what we're looking for. But credit for them, and hopefully to forget about these ones and just move forward to the next ones.
Next ones are against the Atlanta Braves. They're in for 3 starting tonight. Taking a look at the standings, the Cubs lead the division over St. Louis by 4 games. The Brewers are 5.5 out, Cincinnati 7.5 out, and Pittsburgh still has a baseball team. Believe it or not, they have uniforms and everything. Wire-to-wire winners at TPC Wisconsin on the city's north side. We'll get to that story in a minute, but first, let's go to Appleton. That's where our Trevor Thomas is standing by with a special guest.
Good afternoon from Butamore Country Club in Appleton. It's Trevor Thomas with the Inside Wisconsin show here for the Children's Wisconsin Open, joined by a very special guest at the moment, Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy. Good to see you, Mark. First off, how are you shooting them? Are we doing okay?
Yeah, playing with Brian Butch.
Ooh, sorry.
No, he's so we're 3 under after 6 holes. So
okay, we're off to a good start. Hey, while we got you, real quick, elephant in the room, or maybe in the state of Wisconsin, Jaire Alexander gets released today.
Yeah.
As the guy that's been at the helm for forever now, this isn't the first time where something like this has happened. What are your thoughts on Jaire?
Well, first of all, maybe one of our best players, just a great player, phenomenal talent. And I've been around, I played 8 years, and I've been around the NFL for a long time. Very rarely does your career end the way you want it to. And the reality with Jair is just that the injuries just took a toll. And he missed. I think the last 4 years he missed about half of the games, and but hopefully he'll be able to. This gives him. We had the mini camp starting yesterday, and I think this way we wanted to have that resolved. And now he's really free to go wherever he wants, and probably I'm sure he's still relatively young. I think he's 28 or 9. So, but I think with the injury history, it was difficult to trade him.
And at the same token, when he's on the field, he's a game-changing player. And so was that a hard, difficult, and interesting conversation with you and Matt and Goody, just going, boy, it's an opportunity, I guess, to just cut your losses? I mean, how do you say it?
No, I think it's more that we feel pretty good about the corners that we have. Keyshawn Nixon, it's a great story, undrafted player, and, becomes a all-pro kick returner, and he played well at corner, and Carrington Valentine's good, and so I think we feel pretty good about our secondary. But no, it's not taking anything away from Jair. Just it's the reality in the NFL is the most important ability is availability.
Mark, Mark, this is Tim Allen. Let me bounce this off you. First of all, congratulations on the draft. It was an amazing event, and I think it set a new precedent for NFL drafts. That's for sure. But we talked to.
Thank you, and I feel that way. But I'm sure people in other cities. If you ask people in Detroit, they thought that was the best one.
Well, feel free to take a shot at Detroit if you want. I mean, but we
they
talked
had 700,000, but they have a much larger base of people around them.
That's true. That's true. We talk to Packers fans all the time, as you can imagine, here on the Packers Radio Network. And I think some of the feedback we're getting here on the Jair situation is almost a tone of exhale and relief that we don't have to wonder if he's medically cleared, if he's going to play. Is this a team decision? Do you guys feel that there's some form of relief that it's moving on now?
Yeah, I think so. And there's also, having been around him, he's just a great person. Got a tremendous personality, and so and the good thing for him is now he's really got choices. I would imagine there'll be a lot of interest in him. Probably a contract with a number of incentives, based in if he's able to play. Because teams look at the history, and so they'll structure it in a way. But he's still a very talented player.
Indeed. Mark Armansarin here. Thanks for hopping on with us. I'll go a different direction with you. Some news obviously this offseason involved in the proposal of banning the tush push. Didn't gain the necessary 24.
Oh, I didn't know. I had never heard anything about
that. I'm sure.
I'm a hated man in Philadelphia.
That's kind of surprised me. I'll be honest. I didn't think that that at least the fan base wise, I've observed getting pretty defensive about that, but it seemed like there was support around the league. It got a lot of votes, didn't get all 24, which was necessary to pass. Were you surprised
we were too
by
short.
That, disappointed, or what was
I was disappointed. It's I just think it's not a good play for the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a football play. It's more of a rugby scrum. And I don't know if you probably get Murphy Takes Five. We had a question this week, or a guy wrote in and said, we should have Jerry Kramer come out and talk about, real man run, how you run a quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
But what I think we'll see, that you'll see more and more teams do it. We did it with Tucker Kraft, and I think as more and more teams do it and have success with it, that there will be a bigger push in the next year or two to ban it.
Mark, you're unlike anybody else ever leaving a job. You're just going to golf as much as you possibly can in the next month, or?
Well, I don't know if you know, I own a golf course, so I have no excuse.
Door County.
Yes.
As
Walton Braves.
That's right. As your tenure ends with the Packers, first off, what a run. And the state of Wisconsin and all Packer fans can't thank you enough. What are some of the takeaways? I mean, the draft was such a highlight, but what else is going through your head here towards the end?
The draft, that was just I mean, it's something we'd been working on and planning and lobbying the league and planning for we knew for 2 years we were going to have it, but just so happy for our fans and all of our employees that it went so well. I mean, it really exceeded all of our expectations. Obviously the Super Bowl, people forget, we had the win to get in, and we were a 6th seed, and just timing was perfect. And I think I was really, really proud of the consistent success. I would have loved to have more Super Bowls and Super Bowl appearances, but and I think the impact that we've had on the community over the years, and particularly the development of Titletown, has been something that I think we all take great pride in.
Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy jumping on with us statewide on the game. Mark, I think you're on the tee box. We're going to let you go.
Well, I don't know. They don't need my drive.
No, they're not going to use your drive.
They don't need Butch's either.
We got Brian Butch, and he flies it by.
No, we appreciate you, Mark. Thanks so much for stopping by. So, real quick,
So
I
now
guess.
you do the UWGB men's basketball game.
Oh, yeah, I do.
So how's the team going to be? Can't get worse.
Mark, that easy. Jeez.
Well, no, I mean, they should be better.
Wrong.
Wait, listen, there's a lot of those guys here. At the end of the day, listen, I just think it's going to be a complete turnover. That's something to get your take on, though, since we can steal you here for a few more minutes.
Oh,
there were some.
I am so glad I'm not a college.
I was just about to say that. What you were an AD in college for so many years. And now with the landscape, how do you process exactly what is, I guess, pay to play now? And now the universities, if you saw it over the weekend, they have a $20.5 million budget to pay the players directly from the colleges. What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, first of all, I don't know if it's sustainable. I mean, what you're going to end up with is, well, you're going to separate the haves and the have-nots. And you see it now. If you're a really good player at mid-major, you're moving up.
Yeah.
And we see it in the draft now. It's fewer and fewer players from the smaller schools, because if you're a really good player at the you've already been you've taken money to go up to a higher level. I don't know if it's sustainable. We'll see. And unfortunately, I don't know. I don't. It seems to me that the NCAA has kind of lost control, and that it's being run by, and I don't really know if Title IX still applies, since when you had collectives, they were technically separate from the university. Now that the universities can pay the athletes, I know when I was an athletic director, one of the biggest issues that we dealt with on a regular basis was Title IX. And are you supporting your women's programs? And with the NIL and the transfer, I don't think that's been an issue at all. No.
18 years as Packers president and CEO, correct? Over those 18 years, there have only been 3 quarterbacks at the Green Bay Packers. And I don't know that many other people at the helm can say that over the years. How special is Jordan Love going to be?
I'm very optimistic. I've been really impressed. Obviously he's got a lot of talent, but just the kind of person he is. And what we did that very few teams are willing to do is, it's an old saying in the NFL, the best time to draft a quarterback is when you don't need one. So we drafted Aaron Rodgers when we had Brett Favre. We drafted Jordan Love when we had Aaron Rodgers still playing at a high level. And the other thing, both Aaron and now Jordan didn't have to play right away before they might have been ready to play, and didn't lose confidence. And so when both Aaron and Jordan finally stepped in, they had the confidence and were playing at a high level.
You bring up Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you saw the news over the weekend. Did you see it, or am I the first one telling you? You saw it? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts on week 8? Sorry, windy here.
I think that will be the highest rated game of the NFL season. It's a Sunday night, right? Yeah.
I believe, is it a Sunday night game in
Pittsburgh? Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Are you planning on traveling for any of the games coming up this year?
I don't not maybe some games. That might be one that would be worth going to.
Yeah, what does retirement look like for you now? That's got to be difficult because you retired as a player, but this is a little bit different.
Oh, this is very different.
Yeah.
They retired me as a player. No, it's it's funny. I knew, and I think it's a good policy that. And speaking of that policy, but no, once you turn 70, I think that's more of our industries should have rules like that. I think it is good, but I know I can't completely retire. So I'll be more actively involved with the golf course. I'm on a number of different boards, and so I'll still be active, but just not quite as active and when you're in a position like I had, it's not just 40 hours a week. It's all consuming.
Well, they may not have to use your drive, but based on watching Brian Butch just drive, I don't think they're going to use his either. So you might want to give it a go. Mark Murphy, Packers president and CEO. Mark, thanks for joining us real quick and talking about everything. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Back to you guys.
Wow, there it is. Good stuff. Trevor Thomas, Inside Wisconsin show. And our colleague here at the game had a chance to grab President and CEO Mark Murphy there.
How about that?
Interesting stuff.
Very interesting. And as always, very candid words and very, I always appreciate Mark because his transparency has always been refreshing. I've always felt like he's someone that speaks his mind honestly, and he's always forthright. He's never trying to avoid anything. And we've been lucky, I think, as Packer fans to have a guy like that in charge of our favorite organization. So right there again, pretty interesting to hear what he said about Jair. Like, yes, a little bit of a breath of fresh air.
But he didn't want to go all the way there, though.
Sure, of course.
Armin.
Yeah.
He didn't want to, nice accolades and talking about Jair Alexander. But when I asked him about his sigh of relief, he didn't want to go all the way in there. And I get it. A good answer.
Yeah, but speaking honestly, which is what we've always come to expect from Mark Murphy, and really appreciative. And when you think about it, it's pretty interesting. And Trevor was talking to him about his career and about how, he was obviously an administrator at the college level and how things have been changing in sport and the business of sport very recently in that sense, and how that translates to professional sports as well. And he's seen a lot of things, although in his career, that I think are pretty rare in professional sports. Think about it. The stability at quarterback in the NFL position, an ownership structure like the Packers have in the NFL, all things that are pretty rare. So I know a lot of Packer fans feel this way, and he mentioned Take 5. We always appreciate him doing that, answering those questions online from people as honestly as he does. I think we always feel the sincerity coming from him. So it was great to hear his words for a few minutes there with Trevor.
A straight shot about the tush push.
Yeah.
And wasn't pulling back any punt. Thought it was a rugby scrum. I mean,
right.
That's it. I like that. And I thought for a second there when he was mentioning the NFL draft. Number one, I thought he was going to take a better shot at Detroit, but he's right. They've got a big pool of people.
Yeah.
But number two, when he said the words Super Bowl, I thought just for a second there, I was going to give him a big hug. Because I'm one that believes the Super Bowl at one time should be played in Lambeau Field.
That might happen.
Good luck with that,
Doug. What do you think?
I understand, Doug.
It'll never happen.
I get it. I understand. We've done mountains of hours of talk shows on this, and
you shouldn't. It's not going to happen.
But it's easy to say no in life.
Sure is. And
it's easy.
And in this case, it's the only answer.
I think both things are true. I think it's not going to happen and that it's incredibly, incredibly unlikely to happen. I also think people said that about the draft as well. Now, I understand why they're different, but I understand your point, Tim, that, the whole never say never thing, why always.
How special would that be? The trophy is named Lombardi. Give them one.
It's no.
There's RVs, there's tents, there's heaters, there's all sorts of things.
They have the Ice Bowl. That's the pinnacle of what's going to happen at Lambeau Field.
Unless you put a roof on Lambeau, which also is going to be
and build 12, major hotels that are the size of Las Vegas hotels. It's not
that far to Madison, not that far to Milwaukee.
It's never going to happen.
There's all sorts of RVs in the Midwest.
I love
available for rent.
I love your optimism.
I could keep going.
I love Doug's pragmatism. I love your steadfast belief.
Sydney Sweeney is single. I could also date her.
Right.
There you go. It is possible.
It could happen.
You open the door. We know people who know her.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
So,
But just think there were enough people saying that about the draft, and he's got to be incredibly proud of it, Doug. That
I
it
don't
actually
love
happened.
saying never. I don't love saying never.
But
Never.
in this case,
never.
I
In
tend to
this
agree.
case, it's not going to happen.
What if enough things change materially? Like, let's just say
Then we will
crazy.
old takes expose the heck out of Doug.
Fine.
You know,
But by the time it happens, I'll be so far under the ground. I will have taken the dirt nap, decades prior, because so many things will have to change.
We wouldn't have been walking on the moon
I
in
gotta
the
say,
60s.
I do
We
ag-
wouldn't have had cell phones. It's easy to say no.
Right, that's true too.
Expand and reach for the stars.
Going to the Super Bowl for the first time, though, like now as a member of the media, we went to New Orleans. Obviously our staff was down there. It does seem like it'd be pretty hard to replicate what they did. Then again, it wouldn't look like that in my
What
head.
Super Bowl are we on now? 50.
It'll be 60 next year.
60.
But you're right. I
60.
do agree with you, Doug.
How
But I
about
love
100?
the spirit.
How about 100? You have 40 freaking years to figure it out. Super Bowl 100 is at Lambeau Field.
What do you think about Super Bowl 100?
Well, we'll all be dead by then. Right?
Speak for yourself. I hope
I don't
I
know
make
if I
it.
will.
I hope I make
Well,
it. and I
Dave will
want
still
to
be
press
around,
pass.
but
maybe. And
Armin,
Dave's gonna say that
I'll
old dude.
try.
Armin will be 80.
right.
I'm trying to make it to that.
I'll
I'm
be
trying to.
93.
You'll be around. And you'll be telling all the stories in the press box.
Yeah, I'll be that. Yeah,
You'll
okay,
be-
I'll be that guy.
You'll be that
recording
guy.
our latest
I
episode
remember.
of Tales from 1265.
Right. I do have one observation about Mark Murphy. His job, number one, when he took over for Bob Harlan, he had one job more than anything else. Wasn't the only job, but it was job number one, and it's not screw it up. Bob Harlan did so many revolutionary things for the Packers. Mark Murphy's number one job was don't screw it up. And not only did he not screw it up,
Enhanced it.
I mean, he enhanced it.
Absolutely.
Titletown District. Just the way that this team has been able to sustain the excellence that was created under Bob Harlan.
Yeah.
Mark Murphy doesn't get nearly enough credit, I think, around the NFL. I think certainly he does inside 1265. People know what he did. Insiders in the NFL offices know what Mark Murphy has done. But I don't know if Packers fans fully appreciate how great of a steward of the organization Mark Murphy has been for the last 18 years. And
he's really accomplished multiple goals. Almost set every goal you could probably set. He hoisted the Lombardi Trophy, which has some to do with him, but not everything. So he had a tenure for obviously winning a Super Bowl. His crowning achievement, the draft. Green Bay hosted the draft, which a lot of people thought wasn't going to happen. He's made the business side more solvent and more successful, and he's kept the organization something that people are proud of. I think.
Steady resolve in the summer of 2008 when the whole Brett Favre thing
Very
was
good
going
point.
on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one thing after another, and he's getting his flowers as a Packers Hall of Famer, which is an obvious no-brainer. I think you got to put his name on the wall with everybody else inside Lambeau Field. Mark Murphy, I think, does not get nearly enough credit, and the candor that he has always displayed with us as a conduit to the fans.
That's the thing.
That's another thing that I think he should be applauded.
He's done
for.
it with character,
honest
with
and open.
community involvement, and
100%.
class.
And he's staying in the community. He's got his golf course up in Door County, and he's going to be a lifelong Wisconsin resident. I hope he has a long, healthy, and incredible retirement because he's earned it.
And I know the bylaws say, you're out of the seat at 70, and he is, but I hope he stays involved in whatever type of role they need him to stay involved in.
Oh,
in
like
terms of
Bob
being,
has.
just being a mentor, just like Bob has, being a mentor, whatever it is, just being that type of, I don't know what they say, consultant. I don't know what the term is.
Yeah,
but,
name something after him too, because
just
he's
being
earned that
here,
too.
being around, being an advisor. I'm sure he will be privately to Ed Policy in many ways. So it's awesome, and hopefully Ed can and hopefully Ed Policy can start that, take the baton, and do even more with that. So
Yeah, and I think that was the natural choice because Ed's been, Mark's number 2 for so long and was instrumental in the Titletown District. I think that was a no-brainer.
Small thing.
Some other names were kind of floating around. That I'm like, I don't know about that. I think Ed's the guy.
But like a small example of what we're talking about with how he is as a person, we assumed we'd have a certain amount of time with him. Trevor gave him the out to go shoot a t-shirt. He's like, no, let's hang out.
Let's talk some more.
Let's talk about Green Bay basketball. It's just great. It's just great to, that's so Mark. That's just, and I know a lot of Packer fans are proud of him. So, are proud of that and proud of him and feel he's represented us well, I should say.
Agreed.
So.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, Doug, I guess that interrupted your update,
That's
right?
fine. Well, let's see. What do we got?
French Open was great, guys.
French Open was great. You want to hear the Carlos Alcaraz, Brian Anderson call?
Yes, let's do it.
Why don't you fire that up, Dave, as Carlos Alcaraz wins the French Open. Had to have a couple of.
It's over. Carlos Alcaraz reigns in Roland Garros.
See, there you go. Fifth set tiebreaker. Carlos Alcaraz outlasts Jannik Sinner. Alcaraz wins the French for the second straight year. It's his fifth Grand Slam singles title. He turned 22 last month.
Amazing. What a marathon of a match. I think
And
the
a
only
class
longer
call. There's some class. There's a consummate pro right
Without
there.
it. NBA is going to come. BA will be back in the Brewers booth on Thursday.
How about that?
Let's go.
I think
Oh,
the only final at a Grand Slam in the open air that was longer was Djokovic and Nadal in 2012 at the Aussie.
Yeah, 12 at the Aussie.
And no one saw that because it's Australian Open and it's overnight. So no one saw that.
Well, you
anyway.
probably could have gone to bed and then woken up.
Yeah.
and when it was starting, and then woken up and it was still going on.
Yeah.
Well, last hour it was 3 minutes, and this hour it's 1 minute. There's 4 minutes of tennis talk. I'll never get back.
No, just wait. Just wait. The more we hang out, the more you'll get it.
Okay.
No, I'll
thank
spare you. I was like, I would have had to spare Billy the tennis talk today too.
All right, more after this. We've been sidetracked a couple of different times from Brewers baseball. Just real quick, we got to get some in before we turn things over to the Mike Heller Show. But there's Armin Sarian, Dave Gasper, Tim Allen in for Billy. It's No BS statewide here on The Game.
Are you looking for a new pool or maybe want to update your current pool? John Kuhn here for Splash Pools and Spas. For 16 years, customers have trusted Splash Custom Pools and Spas for high quality, great value, and reliability to have their pool services done right. Splash's team of trained professionals specialized in pool and spa customization and regularly scheduled servicing throughout Northeast Wisconsin and the surrounding areas. They even offer on-site pool chemical supplies. Owning a swimming pool is a great way to enjoy time with the family and friends, and Splash ensures that your pool is always safe and clean with water that is properly balanced, sparkling, and ready for swimming at all times. Check out their Facebook page to see some of their recent projects and find them online at splashcustompools.com. Or you can call them at 920-465-8100. That's 920-465-8100 and make a splash this summer.
This September, our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One is coming back to Las Vegas.
And you can win your way to be there.
Streaming live only on Hulu. Tickets go on sale June 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific through AXS.com. But starting Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, Capital One cardholders get first access to tickets and other exclusive offers for 48 hours only, or while pre-sale tickets last. Visit iHeartRadio.com/Capital One for more pre-sale details. What's in your wallet? Keep listening for the next chance to win your way to our iHeartRadio Music Festival. Presented by Capital One.
I've been playing sports all my life. Little football, basketball, pickleball, cross training, mud events, Spartan races and things like that.
For Dr. Eric Williams, a successful chiropractor, staying active means everything. So when nagging knee pain slowed him down, he didn't want drugs or invasive surgery. He found a natural way to get lasting relief. QC Kinetics Cellular Therapies.
We're using my body's natural abilities to get better. And that's huge. In time, that's going to be the way of the future. Using your own body's ability to heal. Now I can play day to day and not have that severe pain.
Now he's back out there doing what he loves, thanks to QC Kinetics.
Life is good. You're not going to slow me down.
Leave the pain behind and get moving. Book your free consultation today with QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
111 East Kilbourne, Milwaukee. CordellCordell.com.
An unsuspecting driver at a gas station in Wisconsin.
Welcome, Pump 15. How you doing?
Great.
Were you wearing your seatbelt today?
I never wear my seatbelt.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him real good.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, sir. How you doing? Donald Driver. It takes 1 second to strap a seatbelt on. Well, let's do this. Let's do it together. Now, don't that feel better?
Donald Driver can't always be there to remind you.
Click it or ticket.
And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways.
And I should have recognized your voice when you're harassing.
I'm watching you.
Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
KB here. Summer is the greatest thing since sliced pizza, and you deserve both with Pep's Draft House and the summer of pizza. When hunger hits, Pep's Draft House pizzas are sure to hit the spot. So grab a cold brew and a Pep's pizza at your local grocer and chill out. It's summer. Eat pizza with Pep's Draft House.
Meta AI is the personal AI that's tailored to you. Now with its very own app. It's built to get to know you, offering helpful answers and inspiration. If you're looking for something to add to your bucket list, Meta AI goes beyond traveling the world. It remembers you're a basketball fan and suggests you attend one of the playoff games. Just start typing or speaking to get the answers you need, wherever, whenever, because Meta AI is your personal AI. Download and try the app today. Now available on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/score. That's ethos.com/score.
I lived on a commercial salmon fishing boat in Alaska, and I genuinely think that was the first time I've ever felt myself kind of like slipping mentally. I think Alaska does weird things to people.
If you're interested in hearing anonymous callers like this tell stories from their lives, check out my podcast, Therapy Gecko. You can listen to Therapy Gecko on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Therapy Gecko and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today. Oh, what's he gonna do? You wanna get down?
Welcome back. It's No BS statewide here on the game in the Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel. Tim Allen, Armin Sarian, Dave Gasper. Fun stuff with Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy there.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Jair Alexander news today.
What a nice surprise. And as always, Mark's just the best, so that was a lot of fun. That's what makes what we do fun, right? Live radio.
Just
Timmy.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, indeed. So
we'll shift on the fly with it for sure. And Billy's here. He's been known to lay down a wager.
He has. And speaking of having to adjust live radio, we didn't get to do his parlay of the day, so we'll do it right here, Dave.
Time now for Billy's Parlay of the Day, brought to you by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest.
There's nothing better than taking Billy's money and getting to bet myself with it. And Billy's Parlay of the Day, obviously, usually happens here. But Billy's on the golf course dealing with snapping turtles in the bunker. And he said he was right there when he was listening to, I'm sure, to Mark as he was talking to us. But he's not here to do his parlay of the day, so good for us, Timmy. We are. Now, make sure you go down to Potawatomi Sportsbook, as I think I'll be later on, to put a little wager on my favorite team, the Milwaukee Brewers, because I like their number. We'll get more to that in a second, but that's a beautiful curved LED screen wall, just immense, amazing, and just palatial viewing experience for all of your sports. Of course, you can eat right there as well from the delicious Sportsbook menu. And you can have all your fun from the betting menu and from the food menu to make it one heck of a day. You were just there doing a show.
I did.
Timmy, right on the floor. How about the atmosphere there?
Man, it is a good vibe. You're looking for good vibes. Potawatomi Sportsbook, where you bet above the rest. You mentioned the food there.
Yeah.
So this time around, I had the broasted chicken,
that
onion
chicken,
rings,
that
and
chicken,
coleslaw.
That chicken is underrated. That is so good. That chicken,
Beautiful.
I love that. You can get it in multiple pieces, sizes, I think. So that's just one fantastic thing of many they do down there. Now, speaking of things getting better here, the odds for the parlay that I'm about to take have just gotten better since I started talking about it, which I love. And let's talk first about our Milwaukee Brewers. I know the discussion will continue. The Braves come in town, guys, losers of 7 straight, I believe.
Yep,
that's true. I think wildly underperforming this year. I think they're underperforming the way sometimes people, and I say people, Brewers fans, talk about the Brewers underperforming, which they're really not, in my opinion. But yet they're still minus 152 favorite. The Brewers are a plus 130 underdog at home tonight against the plummeting Atlanta Braves. Now, of course, Chris Sale's pitching. That might have something to do with it. But look, I love this number for the Brewers. You're telling me I can get a plus 130 on the Brewers at home against a Braves team that, I'm sorry, has not been playing all that well?
You're right.
I'm taking the Brewers on the money line here. Now, another trend with the Brewers is they've been playing to the under. They haven't scored runs. This last weekend, at least, we've known about that. It's been 3 games where the total's gone under. It's at 7.5. I'm going to buy it up to under 8 at minus 139. Put the Brewers under 8 in the money line. I think they're going to win, and the under is going to stay. Sale's pretty good. Well, we got some volley going tonight. So.
2.9 ERA for Sale.
Yeah.
He comes in 3-4. You got a losing record here, but we all know the talent's there.
Right.
Armin, let me ask you: do they have a line on the over and under in hits for the Brewers?
Good question. I haven't looked at it, but I'm going to try and find that for you right now. We have batter hits. Team totals. They don't have a hits one right now.
Okay. I was hoping we'd sneak one under the radar there. I think they'll get their fair share of hits. They're bound to get hits here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's see if I've got one here. Hits is just individual player hits, I believe. But they do think the Braves. Oh, here we go. Well, you can bet on who will have the most hits.
Okay.
They think the Braves, by a wide margin, are favored to have the most hits in this game. Minus 162 for the Braves, plus 170 for the Brewers.
Ooh, 170.
Yeah.
I would think about the hit total here.
Well, I'm going to throw this. I'm going to throw this into our parlay of the day just because the Stanley Cup Finals rages on. Tied 1-1. They shift to Florida. Edmonton and Florida, I think, are pretty evenly matched here, but Edmonton's plus 125 now on the money line. So if I throw that into the parlay, that gives us a plus 721, which, hey, I love those odds.
Yes, you do.
I love those odds. So let's make that Billy's parlay of the day, presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brewers money line, total runs under 8 in Brewers Braves, and Edmonton Oilers money line. That's plus 721. Let's hope it hits so I can brag to Billy all week about how I won money for him.
Yep.
Yeah, no, plus 721. I mean, typically when we go, the odds are like 300,
Right.
350.
Well, that's pretty good. So
He'd be proud of a 721.
I think so too. I want to make him proud. So
Yeah,
that's my number
absolutely.
one goal. And I don't know. I guess I just was a little surprised. I understand the struggles the Brewers had this weekend offensively, Timmy. And I know that's a topic we've tossed about, but like that big of an underdog at home against the Braves. The Braves have not been that good this year.
Well, and it's consistency